Recording in progress.
Welcome everybody to Virtual Events Mastery, unleashing the power of virtual events for business growth. My goal for this masterclass is very clear. It's to show you and share with you a powerful client attraction method that will draw clients. Let's go back. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Welcome everybody to Virtual Events Mastery, unleashing the power of virtual events for business growth. My goal for this masterclass is very clear, and that is to share with you a powerful client attraction method that draws clients to your business like a magnet. Now imagine, if you will, just for a moment, that this tap, this faucet, is the marketing machine of your business. And whenever you want more leads, more clients, more sales, more revenue or profit, you can come to this tap and turn it on. And when you turn this tap on, you can have any or all of these things. And when you've got enough to deal with, you just turn the tap off. Never again would you have to worry about where your next leads are coming from, where your next sales are coming from, where's the next clients coming from. Your tap is that marketing machine. So who would this work for? Well, this will work for whether you're professional services like coaching, consulting, freelancing, whether you're an advisor of some kind, or you run an agency. Perhaps you sell digital products like courses, softwares, memberships. Perhaps you sell other people's products and you're an affiliate marketer. Then this client attraction method will work for you. If you're in healthcare, a chiropractor, a doctor, a dentist, a fitness pro, this will work for you brilliantly. And if you're a total beginner, just getting out, starting in business, pay attention to this client attraction method. It's so powerful that it could really help you get your business off the ground as quickly as possible. So what is this client attraction method? Well, it's virtual events. My clients and I have been using virtual events almost exclusively since 2020. And collectively, we've generated over $7 million in revenue. And I'm going to show you in this masterclass how we did it and how you can do the same in your business. So why virtual events? Well, I want to take you back to March 2020. My client, Paul, stop. So why virtual events? Well, I want to take you back to March 2020. I was sitting in my office just after an early morning cup of coffee, and I got 2 dings on my mobile phone. You know, the ones where it just goes ding and then immediately it goes ding before you could even pick up the phone. I went to grab my phone, and before I could grab it, it started ringing. I picked up the phone. On the other end was my client, Paul. He was in a complete frantic state. Gary, have you heard? Have you heard this COVID thing? This COVID thing is killing my business. The hotel has canceled the rooms. The airline has canceled the flights. The promoter has canceled marketing. All my live events have been canceled for the foreseeable future. What am I going to do? It's killing my business. Now, Paul was in the financial industry, and he runs his business and he grows his business by seminars and workshops. And we've been working with him for many, many years, and we've recreated his product and his service and repackaged his message to sell at in-person live seminars. So people are invited to a seminar, from a seminar they're invited to a workshop, from a workshop they're invited to become clients. And this has been working very well for him for the past 6 years. But when COVID hit and everything shut down, Paul could see no way forward for his business. He had no other marketing avenue open to him. So what we did is we looked at his current offer and the way he was delivering his message. We looked at what worked and what didn't work. And then we redesigned or repackaged his whole offer, his whole basic offer for his company, and made it possible to work in a virtual environment. So we redesigned and repackaged it to be put forward in a virtual event and virtual messaging. That was. Why virtual events? Well, I want to take you back to March 2020. I was sitting in my office one morning and my phone dinged. You know, when you get a text message, it goes ding. Well, it went ding, and then ding, and then ding, and about 4 or 5 dings in succession. I thought, well, somebody wants to get hold of me. And before I could pick up my phone, the phone rang. So I picked it up, answered the phone, and it was Paul. It was my client, Paul, in a complete another state. Gary, have you heard? This COVID thing is ruining my business. The hotel has just cancelled the conference rooms. The airline has cancelled my flights. The hotel has cancelled the rooms. What am I going to do? It's ruining my business. You could tell the frustration and the fear that was coming from Paul's voice. You see, Paul is in the financial industry, and we worked with him to build his business up through webinars and workshops. So people were invited to, invited to a seminar, an in-person seminar in a conference room. And then from a conference room, they're invited to a multi-day workshop. And from there, they're invited to become clients. And when COVID hit and everything began to shut down, it was literally cutting him off at the knees, his whole marketing strategy. He couldn't see a way forward. He was worried where his next client was going to come from. He was worried about his lead generation, and he thought his whole business was going to go down the pan there and then because of COVID. So all we had to do was we had to look at his current offer and the way he was delivering his message out into the marketplace. We took what worked and what didn't work, and then we redesigned it and repackaged it for virtual messaging and virtual events. We then had to change the way he delivered his message from delivering it in person in seminars and workshops to delivering it in a virtual world. Well, his next event, which was virtual, he managed to convert and generate over $278,000. You see, that is what I do. When people say, Gary, what is it you do? That's what I do. I help people with their client attraction results. I work with people and help them build their client attraction, build their revenue, build their leads, and build their profits through virtual events. Now, personally, I've delivered over 4,200 presentations worldwide. From those presentations, I've generated over $70 million in revenue from live and virtual stages. I've also continued to speak on virtual stages and live stages, as well as run my own virtual events. I've written 2 international #1 bestsellers in the business sector, and I run a client attraction training company for clients worldwide. You see, what inspired me to do what I do was my old mentor, Zig Ziglar. This quote from him is something that I have in my office, so I can see it every day. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. But more importantly, you will get out of life what if you help enough people if you help other people get what they want. You will get all you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. So that inspires me to go out and help people and help businesses improve their profitability, improve their client attraction systems, improve their sales systems so that they can grow no matter what economic state the world is in. So what is a virtual event, and why should you be using them as a business owner in 2023 and beyond? Well, the very first part is that it utilizes the power of one-to-many. One-to-many is the most cost-effective, cost-efficient, and profitable way of generating leads and sales in a business. You see, if you are going to invest your time to explain via a message or via a presentation to a client to hopefully may become a paying client of yours, that hour, 2 hours, half a day, 1 day, however long it takes, is far more efficient if you took the same time and delivered the same message to multiple people. You see, on a one-to-one, you have a maximum chance of 50-50, don't you? They're either going to buy from you and become a client, or they're not going to buy from you. Whether you spend an hour with them or 2 hours or 5 days with them, it's still going to have, if you're dealing with one person, the chance is going to be a yes or a no. Yet if you spend the same amount of time, that 1 hour, that 2 hour, that half a day, that 1 day, presenting to many people, your chances of getting a client or multiple clients has dramatically increased. The return upon investment in purely your time has incrementally increased. Hence, more profitability for you and your company. You see, the beauty is humans are hardwired for knowledge. Human beings are desperately and always searching for more knowledge. How to be better? How do I do this? How do I stop doing that? And it generally boils down to 2 things. They're looking for knowledge on how to remove pain or issues or challenge that they're dealing with. Or how do I get more pleasure? How do I get more money? How do I become healthier? How do I have a better relationship? How do I get more leads? How do I build a better business? The pain for them would be, how can I stop this problem from happening in order to get more pleasure? You see, as human beings, our brains are hardwired to learn. But more than that, we're hardwired to learn as a tribe. Neuroscientists have proved over the years that as human beings, we prefer to be in a group environment. And pre-pandemic, that's what people did. They went to conference rooms, they packed out conference rooms all across the world, all in every country you can imagine, learning how to avoid pain or improve their pleasure. And I've spoken in small rooms of 40, 50 people, right up to rooms and conference rooms of 4,500, 5,000, 6,000 people, all thirsty for knowledge. And then the pandemic came, the world shut down. All those in-person events, just like my client Paul and other clients, had come to a screeching halt. Where could they go? What were they going to do to build their business? Well, in the background, there were these things called virtual events and webinars and teleconferences that were happening, but they weren't really big things until the pandemic. But at that time as well, technology had increased and improved, and it was accessible to almost everybody. And before you knew it, webinars and virtual events had taken their place in the world. But just like in-person events, there are some really good events, and there's some really, really poor events. Really poor, very, very boring, slow, dreadfully painful events to be for. And I'm pretty sure you've been to those as well. You see, the biggest mistakes that people made, including some of my clients, was they just took what worked for them in a in-person live event and then tried to shoehorn it into a virtual event. But that did not work. There are too many other dynamics at play here. For example, you can't look somebody directly in the eye at a virtual event. You can't help, you can't see if they've minimized you at the bottom of the screen and are playing Candy Crush instead of paying attention to you. So the engagement and how to find engagement and how to increase that engagement is a harder skill to learn than just doing it live on stage. But the good news is that it can be learned, because virtual events, and it should be learned, because virtual events are here today. In today's digital landscape, virtual events have become the cornerstone of success for forward-thinking entrepreneurs. They offer literally an unparalleled opportunity to connect, to engage and convert audiences on a global scale, no longer just a local scale, no longer just a national scale, but an international global scale, all from the comfort of your own workspace, whether that be if you're working at home or if you're working in an office. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, your reach can still be effective no matter who you want to connect with. So this is why I truly believe now is the time to harness this power and take your business to extraordinary levels of growth. You see, the numbers that came out in the last 6 months are dramatic. 92% of companies are continuing to host virtual events, even after physical events have resumed. Now that we are post-pandemic, more and more in-person events are starting to come up again. And people are enjoying being able to spend time in person with other people. But the fact is 92% are still continuing to host virtual events. Why? Because they work. Because even though there is an element of people, there's a percentage of people who still want to go and go into in-person events. The cost to run an in-person event is dramatically higher than the cost of running an online event. LinkedIn has also seen a massive rise in virtual events. Their virtual attendance has gone up by a record 231% since 2020. That is a huge increase in people attending online events. But probably one of the most fascinating but interesting and exciting figures is this, is that post-COVID, 44% of adults, almost half of us, have reportedly spending up 4 hours more screen time per day. Why? Because our thirst for learning, our thirst for finding more pleasure or trying to eliminate more pain. And we spend up to 4 hours more, not 4 hours, 4 hours more per day. What that basically means, guys, is that if you're not on the virtual events bandwagon, and not getting your name and your company and your brand and your solution and your product and your service out there today, you are definitely missing out on the audience that is already there, already waiting to not only learn from you and find a way to solve their problem or get more pleasure, but willing to spend money doing it as well. So what types of virtual events are there? Well, you've got things like webinars. Now, we all know what webinars are sort of 60-minute, 90-minute, generally one-way conversation where somebody is teaching a methodology to the audience while they are watching from their workspace or from their home. It is, as I said, it's a one-way general communication. Maybe there's some chat going on in the chat box, but predominantly it is a one-way communication. What's really popular at the moment, certainly I've seen a massive uptake in it, and in its challenges, 3 and 5 day challenges. They're generally with a week's long. I've seen them actually this year, especially from 9 days to 21-day challenges. And effectively what they are, and what people seem to love them, is that they are, you maybe teach for an hour and then you give people some homework. Some very, very quick wins. And people like quick wins. They get quick wins. They see that that they're learning something and that it's worthwhile going back for the next day, because you go back for the next day, you get some feedback, and then you learn something new and you do more homework. So they're actually getting something in return for attending the challenge. Workshops are also really popular over the last 6 or 7 months. Now, workshops are usually 2-3 hours. They're generally paid workshops, a minimum amount. But again, they're usually focused around 1 or 2 things, and it kind of a get stuff done mentality. So you turn up to the workshop, and rather than being sort of a two-way, rather than being a one-way like a webinar, it can be more two-way, but you're actually doing something. So rather than just passively listening, you're actively getting involved and getting something done. So there's a big takeaway at the end of workshops for most people. Masterminds. Masterminds are another great virtual event. Now, I've been part of masterminds where the investment has been between $10,000, some at $25,000, some at even $75,000 per year, where we get together a group of entrepreneurs and we literally help each other in the mastermind come up with ideas, sharing what's worked, what hasn't worked in the industry, so that we can all grow together. Well, obviously, since COVID, we kind of cut down on the amount of times we actually meet up in person. And it's also, masterminds have turned into more of a hybrid now, where instead of meeting 3 or 4 times a year, we meet once a year, in person, and 3 or 4 times a year, we get together virtually to help each other grow our businesses. Masterclasses, very much similar to this. It can be live, it can be pre-recorded, where you're actually learning something as a classroom environment. There are points that you can take away and you gain more knowledge. Obviously, Facebook Lives and LinkedIn Lives are very simple virtual events. You pick up a phone, you say your truth. They're generally a lot shorter. You say what you want to say and move on from there. Boot camps and summits and conferences are usually a larger scale. Boot camps is usually 2 to 3 days worth, just like going to an in-person event for 2 to 3 days. A boot camp, virtual boot camps now are very, very popular. And summits, multi-speaker summits and conferences, again, now that the technology is there, more and more corporate entrepreneurs and corporate business leaders are using these to bring in multi-speakers for their audiences of 3, 4, 5,000 people. And when you have 3, 4, 5,000 people in a virtual event, it's quite a feat. It's quite an engineering or logistical feat to make sure it goes well, but they're very, very popular. So if we were to break down the types of events, these most popular events, I would say Facebook Lives and LinkedIn Lives, because they're probably the most simplest thing to do. Anyone could do them. You don't need a lot of skill set to do them. You literally pick up your phone, look into your computer and talk. They're very, very good for branding. So if all you really want to do is sort of build up your brand, build up your influence, build up your followers, Facebook Lives and LinkedIn Lives are a really good start to doing virtual events. Now, the ones we would normally concentrate on, the ones I work with my clients predominantly, are how to monetize, ones we can use to make money and have business growth. And that would be the webinars, the challenges, workshops, masterminds, and masterclasses. All of those are currently in my portfolio. All of those I currently do, because those are now simple to do and are very profitable. Now, on the other side is scalability. Once you come to boot camps and summits and conferences, this is when you're doing multi-day events, multi-speaker events, and these are a great way to scale your business, really, really scale up your email list, the amount of attendees you have, and the income that's could be able to produce from these virtual events. They do take a lot more skill to do, but that being said, once you have a skill set in how to do the monetizable ones, the webinars, the challenges, and the workshops, for example, it's literally a natural step up to do boot camps, summits, and conferences. So whether you're looking just to brand, improve your brand, or whether you're looking to monetize your business, or whether you are looking to scale, virtual events has a great foothold, and there's definitely a place for virtual events in your business. Whether you're just starting out in virtual events and you're here because you want to know how it works and how you can use it in your business, or you currently are doing some form of virtual events, but you really want to know a better way to monetize it so you can actually really use the virtual events to grow your company, or whether you're using virtual events and want to know how to scale it, this masterclass is absolutely ideal for you. In this masterclass, in our time together, for somebody who speaks at events and runs their own events, this masterclass, I've tried to condense as much as I can into this for you so that you have the very best tools available to you, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or experienced, to go forth into 2023 and beyond and use virtual events to grow your business. So what we're going to cover effectively is the 5 elements of successful virtual events. There are, whether you want to, as I said, whether you're just starting or you're looking to grow and monetize your business or scale your business, they all really follow these 5 elements. And once you have these 5 elements, you'd really begin to see how virtual events has a place in your business, how utilizing the power of virtual events can increase the amount of leads you have, increase the amount of clients, increase the revenue you have. And just like we said at the beginning, it's just like a tap. It's like a faucet that when you want more clients, run a virtual event. When you want more leads, run a virtual event. When you want more sales, run a virtual event. Every successful person in almost any industry uses events, live and virtual, to grow their business. So there are 5 key elements to this, and I'm going to explain and share with you how to use them, why they're important, and how you can just literally model them to move forward and create your very first or ongoing event moving forward. So what is number one? The key thing is this. What I'm about to share with you, guys, is that important that I suggest, if you haven't already got it, is get yourself a pen and paper or get yourself a pad and take as many notes as you can. These 5 elements, although simple, are sometimes very easy to forget. You get swept up in the actual doing of it rather than the planning of it. And once you really focus down on these 5 things and make them very much part of your SOPs, your standard operating procedures for virtual events, you'll be able to redo, remodel, improve your virtual events over and over and over again. Now, give you an idea, most of my clients are now running a virtual event of some kind, whether that be a webinar, whether that be a workshop, whether that be a challenge, on a monthly basis. Some are doing it on a weekly basis. The least are doing it on a quarterly basis, even in summits. I have a client who's running 4 summits per year with up to 2,500 people per summit. Why? Because they work, but they all use these 5 elements. So let's get straight into them. Number 1 is have a clear outcome. Have a very, very clear outcome, what you want from your event. Now, actually, you want to look at it from 2 perspectives. There's a clear outcome, one clear outcome for you as the person hosting the event, and one clear outcome for your audience. So let's look at you first. Let's look at the one clear outcome from you. What do you want out of your event? You're going to be running this event, whether that be a workshop, a webinar, a summit, a challenge, or whatever the case may be. What do you want from it? Let's look at some of those what you could have. Because once you focus on one clear outcome for you and one clear outcome for your clients, the chances of a successful event dramatically increase. So let's look at some examples of an outcome that you want. Would you want to have an event to build your fan base? Are you looking for more followers? Are you looking for more people to join you and follow you and see what you do and to improve your fan base depending on your business? If that's the case, then that's what you should focus on. What do your fans want to see? What do your fans want to see from you and have you do with them or do for them? What kind of message do you need to give out if it's just a fan base you're looking for? Perhaps you're looking to reach a new audience, an audience in a different locality, in a different demographic. Is that the outcome you want? Is that the focus you want? Perhaps you want to build brand awareness. It's not about you, it's about your brand. You've got a new product, you've got a new service, you've started a new business, and you want to get your brand out there to the marketplace to see if there is a message to market match out there. Virtual events are fantastic for doing that. Perhaps you want to have more leads and more email addresses. That is your sole goal for running this event, is to get more leads. If that's the same, how many? When you focus on what you want, we can work backwards and reverse engineer to how you run your event. As we go through the 5 elements, this will become clearer and clearer. So if you're looking for more leads and more email addresses, if so, how many? Perhaps it's not leads, perhaps it's sales and clients. You see, perhaps you can sell directly from that event. If you want leads, that's just to collect leads and sell to them at a different date, that's fine. If you want more sales and more clients from an event, that's fine too. I'm going to show you how you can do that in this masterclass. So if you want more sales and more clients, what kind of figure you're aiming for? How much money are you looking to achieve? How many new clients are you looking to get from your event? Perhaps you're looking to break into more territories, new territories. Perhaps you're looking to go global now. You've been national for a while. Now you want to go global. It's a lot easier, a lot more cost effective, and the return upon investment is huge by moving the event. Let's say moving the event globally. Effectively, you are just expanding who you speak to, as opposed to running an event in a different country, having to travel to that country. You can literally run an event from your current place to another country and see what the results are from there without ever leaving your desk, without ever leaving your home, without ever leaving your office, or whatever your workspace is. I have clients from Australia, in Asia, in Africa, and America. And predominantly a majority of my events are run from here in my office. Or is it something else you're looking to do? All right. But whatever it is, make sure you have one clear outcome. That is the first thing we've got to do. I see so many clients come to me at the very beginning and they're so confused. Well, I'm looking for more leads. I'm looking for more sales. And it'd be really good if I can break into a different country. And I want to sell them this and I want to sell them that. And it's just a hodgepodge of ideas, but no real focus. So the first thing we generally tend to do with clients is to sit them down and say, okay, what is it that you got? And what is it that you want out of this? So now that you have a clear outcome of what you want, it's now time to focus on what your audience wants. What do they get out of the event? Why should they turn up? Think about it. If you were an attendee and someone said, hey, come and spend 2 hours with me, or come and spend half a day with me, give up your time and come and listen to me speak. What is it that would make you go, okay, then I'm a busy person, but I will, of course, spend 2 hours and come and listen to you. What do you want to get out of that if you were to spend your time at this event? See, whenever you ask someone to attend your event, there's always going to be this inner thought with the attendee, potential attendee going, is it worth it? Is it worth spending 2 hours? Even though I don't have to travel anywhere, I can still do it from my home. I can still do it from my desk. Even if I can still do it from my mobile. Even if I don't go and think, is it really worth it? Or should I just sit in front of Netflix? Or is it really worth it? I'm really busy. I probably won't. So how do we get people to give up their precious time and attend your event? Well, in order to do that, we must be very clear on the outcome they will receive, the outcome that they will get if they were to honor us by giving us their time. And the way we do that, guys, is we offer a big, bold promise. Why would people enroll? Why would people give up their time to spend with us if they weren't getting anything out of it? Remember, everything in this world is always about what's in it for me, WIFM. What's in it for me? If I can see that my perceived value, my return upon investment is higher than I'm putting in, then it's worth coming to. If it's not higher, then I'm not coming to it. It's very, very simple maths. It's very, if I spend 2 hours and I get this, then it's worth going. If I spend 2 hours and I'm only getting that, it's not worth going, okay? So this is the questions that's going on in the head of your potential invitees, your potential attendees, every time you're asking for an invite to attend. And the best way to get around that, guys, is to give them a big, bold promise. So what is a big, bold promise? Well, ideally, your big, bold promise of your event should be the outcome that they would receive by attending your event. So they're not just going to attend for the sake of attending. They're not going to attend for the sake of listening. They're not going to attend because, oh, you're an interesting person. And yes, let's see what he's got to say or she's got to say. More people will turn up if they knew they were getting an outcome from that event. So we've got to be clear that the title of our event is a big, bold promise. And the big, bold promise is the outcome that they would receive by honoring us with their time. So let's see what a couple of examples I have for you. Now, obviously, I've chosen sort of 3 or 4 or 5 different entrepreneurships, different businesses here. But as I go through these, have a think about how you could offer a big, bold promise. What is the outcome you would give your attendees if they attended your virtual event? The bigger the bolder the promise, the bigger, the clearer the outcome, the bigger attendance you will have at your event. So let's look at some of these examples that I have for you. So let's say you're a chiropractor. What kind of big, bold promise could you give? What kind of outcome could you explain in your title, in your promise, that will have people saying, yes, 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 Mr. or Mrs. Chiropractor, I want to come to your event. Well, here's a few examples for you. How about unlocking your body's full potential, a comprehensive guide to chiropractic care. So if someone's been stiff for a while or hurting for a while, how to unlock their body's potential and get out of pain is a great, big, bold promise. So that being said, how about this one? Say goodbye to pain. How chiropractic treatment can help you achieve optimum health. Now, for somebody personally who has had back surgeries and shoulder surgeries from high impact sports and has seen a lot of chiropractors over the years, pain is a big thing. Remember what I said, people are always looking for ways to get out of pain or get more pleasure. So when you can say goodbye to pain, come to this event, come to this 2-day event, come to this 2-hour event, come to this half-day event, and I'll show you how to say goodbye to pain forever. I'll show you the stretches you need to do. I'll show you what you need to be doing, what you shouldn't be doing anymore, and this will get you out of pain. That will get me to this event. Maximizing your mobility. Oh, how many of us feel stiff in the morning? How many when we get up and we get out of bed and go, oh my goodness, when did I turn it into a board? You got to do a little stretch out here just to get moving again. So maximizing mobility, depending on your clientele, how to improve the full range of motion. So can you see that these are big, bold promises by the chiropractor, and they are outcome driven? There's another one, elevate your athletic performance. So we talked about pain, but how about this? This is getting more pleasure. This is getting better. I want to be better. I want to be fitter. I want to be faster. I want to be more flexible. I want to be a better sports person. I just want to be better at what I'm currently doing. To elevate your athletic performance. It's a great hook and a great outcome that somebody gets. Or a roadmap to pain-free life. Understanding what a chiropractor does, the benefits of chiropractor. Because we all think we know what a chiropractor does, but I'm often asked over the years, what's the difference between a chiropractor, an osteopath, etc. So when you can explain to people in a group environment, remember, human beings have this thirst, this innate thirst for knowledge. When you explain to them, rather than a one-to-one basis, but in a group environment, well, this is what chiropractors do. This is the difference between what I do as a chiropractor and what osteopaths do here. These are the benefits of what I do, etc., etc. And this helps you get out of pain. This helps you improve your athletic performance. This helps you with your mobility. You have this captive audience now that are knowing that they're going to get a result. Let's look at another one. Let's look at a financial advisor. Quick glass of water. So what kind of big, bold promise could a financial advisor give? Now, obviously, guys, if you're a financial, there's compliance, so you've got to watch what you say. But again, with compliance in mind, what is the big, bold promise you can give? What is the outcome that your clients can get as long as they were doing the right thing? So let's look at this. How about maximizing your retirement savings? Here's some strategies and some tips. Maximize your retirement savings. Everybody's worried about, do I have enough money to retire? This is the money I currently got. How do I maximize it? How do I get the very best out of it? So that is not a pain thing. It's a pleasure thing. It's a pleasure promise. Achieving financial freedom, a step-by-step guide. Two great things here. Achieving financial freedom. It's more pleasure. I want to be sure that I have financial freedom as I get older. I want to make sure that I'm not under financial burden by the time I reach my retirement or whatever age I'm at. But also having a step-by-step guide. A step-by-step guide is literally, we'll talk more about that a little bit later on, it's just letting people know, take the first step, the second step, third step, fourth step, fifth step, done. They just want to know, make it easy for people. And if you make it easy for people, because we are inherently lazy people, we're too busy to get on with stuff. And so it turns us to being lazy to other things because we're so busy in life. So by giving people a step-by-step guide to financial freedom, giving a step-by-step guide to better health, step-by-step guide to more leads in your business, a step-by-step guide to a better relationship, things like that, big, big, bold promises and outcomes. A blueprint for success. There's your outcome. Investing in your future. If you are investing in your future, make sure you don't fail. So this is both, right? This is not only is a pleasure-based outcome because you are got the word success and investing in your future, but it also means don't make a mistake. Here's the blueprint you should follow in order not to make this mistake with your investing. So now that's getting you away from pain as well. So it gives people that it fires all the synapses going, yeah, I don't want to be in pain. And yeah, I want more pleasure out of this. This seems ideal. So I would attend this event. Tax season. Everyone fears the tax season because they don't know what it is. What does the IRS or the Inland Revenue in England actually do? You know, and how do they actually look at it? Unless you're an IRS or an Inland Revenue accountant or an accountant, trying to understand what they do as a layman is really difficult. So how about how to navigate the season with confidence and ease? Remember, make it easy, step by step, and give them the confidence, because people don't want fear in their lives. Let's eliminate the pain of fear by giving them confidence. And protection. There's another great word, protecting your wealth. Using protection is, again, moving away from fear. It's more moving away from fear than it is pleasure, because we don't want to be making mistakes with our future wealth. Okay, do you get the idea of this now, guys? You're understanding how, just by using some really key words, offering an outcome to somebody, whether it be away from pain or towards more pleasure, inherently increases your chance of success or people turning up to your event. So as I said, we've covered two types of industries. We're going to cover another one here, business coach. But if we're not covering yours today, just think about how you could use some of these words. Perhaps you could plug and play, take some of these and just put your own industry in there and see how that works for you. So business coaches, what kind of it? So let's look at this. So achieving business success, well, that's what business coaches do. That's what business owners want. Business owners don't want to fail. They want business success. So strategies and tactics, easy to follow. Just if you did this, this is the result you would get. So achieving, that's moving towards the pleasure of building business success. Maximizing profits. Is it pain or is it pleasure? Obviously, this is more pleasure, maximizing the profits you already have and unlocking business growth, the secrets. Again, great word, the secrets of it, because as business owners, especially as business owners, we get too stuck in the weeds, don't we? We're too busy working on the business rather than working in the business rather than working on it. And we always think that, you know, we can't know everything. So if there's secrets to be learned, I want to know that, because secrets would give me the shortcut to success. Mastering time management. Again, entrepreneurs suffering from time management. How to boost productivity. That's a pleasure. Achieving goals. That's a pleasure rather than pain. Again, already pleasure orientated, building a strong business for long-term success and creating great business mindset and overcoming obstacles. Obstacles is very much for pain. Let's move away from that pain and creating a business mindset so that something that we could have as a skill set to move forward. How about a software SaaS consultant? Streamlining your software process. Again, this is towards the pleasure part of it. Let's make it easy. Let's streamline what you're currently doing. Maximizing return upon investment. It could with custom software. That could be for any industry, whatever industry you're in. Maximizing return upon investment is always a good promise and outcome to give. Like this one, solving your toughest software challenges. Most people, my wife works in the software industry, and there's always challenges with software. It changes constantly, then it has to be installed into it. It has to be installed into the company environment, and there's always going to be challenges. So how do we get that? Learn from a pro. From concept to launch, so especially with SaaS products, how do we, for concept of this and all the steps we need to take to get to that launch? Great one from there, and unlocking the power of software development. So all of these guys here are very simple words, one sentence phrases, but they all offer a great outcome with a big, bold promise. So when you become very clear on your outcome and their outcome, then your chance of successful events dramatically increases. So for those of you who have run events before and haven't had the attendance rate that you would have desired, relook at your promise, relook at what you're actually offering. People aren't really interested in the process. People are interested in the results that they will get. Does it eliminate or get them avoid pain? Or does it give them or move them closer towards pleasure? The process is irrelevant in the title. The process is obviously relevant when you work with them, but it's irrelevant when it comes to the big, bold promise. Hope that makes sense, guys. So that's the first thing we need to. Let's look at number 2 now. What is the second essential element when it comes to creating a successful virtual event for your business so that your business can grow its leads, its sales, its revenue, and its profitability? Well, the second important essential element is making sure that you create engaging virtual experiences. When we used to run in-person events, it was easier to create an experience because we had people there, we had see people movement, we usually had space in the room, people could jump, they could dance, they could hug, they could scream. Any of those vital elements could create that experience. But virtual events don't have that luxury. So we have to figure out ways that allow us to create an experience for our audience in our virtual events that still get them to have an enjoyable time. Have you ever been at a conference, whether live or online, and you've sat there and listened to, well, let's say you've heard, not necessarily listened, to the speaker, and the speaker sounds more like Charlie Brown's teacher. We all have, right? We've all been in there, then you've got your phone out, you're checking Facebook, you're there, you're dipping your head down and whatever. And then you're listening, and then all of a sudden he goes, right, let's go and do something, and he gets crickets. Now, if you're a speaker and you've done some events before, then you realize that when you ask your audience to do something and you get crickets, it's like soul destroying. It's absolutely when it goes all quiet, you go, oh, okay, let me start again. And I've seen even some speakers get really annoyed that their audience hasn't participated. And in reality, Mr. or Mrs. presenter who's got annoyed at their audience, you should not be annoyed at the audience. It's not the audience's fault that they weren't engaged. It's the presenter's fault. Okay, it is our job as presenters, as entrepreneurs, to make sure that our audiences are engaged and entertained and educated to the very best ability that we can. And if you want them to be engaged and you want them to be entertained, then there are certain things you've got to do. You see, one of the key things that we must make sure we do is simplify our messaging, simplify our words so that people have a chance to understand them. You see, the reason why most people switch off and go and check their social media or their email on their phones in a live event, or worse still, in a virtual event, minimize you and shove you in a corner, and while they're playing Candy Crush or reading the local news on their computer, is because the words have not landed with your audience. And the reason, more often than not, why your words have not landed with your audience isn't because they weren't of much use, isn't because they were wrong or they were incorrect. It was more than likely because of information overload. You see, as speakers, we are all guilty of this, and that is teaching too much. We get passionate about what we know. We want to share it with our audience. We feel that the more we share, the more that they will like us and love us as presenters. And in fact, it's the complete opposite. The more you share, the more the audience gets bored. The more information you ram at them, the quicker their bucket gets filled. And imagine an audience brain. An audience brain is like a bucket. And we're audience members as well. I suppose we're not presenting, we're audiences, all right? We've been on both sides. Our brain can only take up so much. There's so much going on in our brains anyway, as human beings. And then we come to an event and then we're being spoken at. And as we're being spoken at, our bucket is getting fuller, and there's more and more information coming into the bucket until the point where it's just too full. There's no more information going on. So this is why timing is important as well, when you should always give your audience a break or get them doing something and interactive. But if you're just constantly chucking information at them, then their brain cannot cope. Their bucket gets full too quickly. So what is the right amount of information to give somebody? What is the right amount of information that you should give your audience in a way that they retain it, but not only retain it, actually have an enjoyable experience at your event? So much so that they want to learn more, or they want to learn more from you, or come to the next event, or are feverishly writing down notes. What is it that we can do to ensure that happens? Well, the first thing we need to do in order not to give information overload is to understand from the client's point of view. What is the audience member, what is the attendee's state of mind? Well, in reality, an attendee state of mind is chaos. They are juggling work, home life, personal life, kids' life. They are human beings. They're juggling traffic. They're juggling monetary issues. They're juggling physical issues. They're juggling relationship issues, all on top of trying to be a normal human being getting on with life. And then we say, come to this event and listen to more stuff that we're going to give you. They live in this daily arena of chaos. And by throwing more information at them, just creates more chaos. So the trick, the key, the secret to getting people engaged and wanting more from you is to show them clarity. People want you to help them bring clarity from the chaos they already have. They're bringing the chaos. They've already got the chaos, right? They don't want more chaos. They're already turning up with chaos. And it's not their fault. This is what they have. This is what we all have to deal with, all right? Do not know what state they are coming and turning up to your event in. So just accept that they're coming in with some form of chaos. And what they're looking for is clarity. They're looking for an hour of clarity, 2 hours of clarity, half a day of clarity, or whatever the case may be. Just say, now I get it. If I can just get clarity for this part, that will leave a little bit more room in the bucket. So if I just follow this and I get more room in my bucket, that's a little bit less chaos for me. And it doesn't matter what you're presenting on. It doesn't matter what your event's about, whether it's about being a better parent, whether it's about getting fitter, whether it's about the intricacies of software management, or how to get more leads and sales, or how to do leadership. It does not matter. Chaos is filling their bucket, and clarity is what they are searching for. So how do we do that? If we accept that they are walking in with a chaos bucket, how do we, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as teachers, as presenters, as servers, how do we help them get better and have a better life and a better business? The key is just give them a step-by-step roadmap. We talked about some of that in the promises and the outcome and the big bold promises. What people are looking for are step-by-step roadmaps, step-by-step processes. If you start here and you did this, this, and this, you get there. That's it. Keep it simple. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. No one wants to listen to and hear and say, well, in order for you to get to here, there are 97 different steps you have to take. And if you miss out 1 or 2 of those or get them in the wrong order, you go all the way back to the beginning and you might as well not started. No one wants that. What they're looking for is simplicity, clarity, ease. Something that they can grasp simply with the little that they've got left in their chaos bucket. That little room they've got left, something they can just grasp onto and go as a lifeline and go, oh my God, that's going to make my life easier. Oh my goodness, if only I knew this before, I wouldn't be in this position. So here's the top tip for you. when you are explaining, sharing something to your audience, especially in a virtual environment, keep it to no more than 5 steps. They can have their outcome in 5 steps. Now, each step might have 5 steps. So there's 25 steps for argument's sake. But in your event, you are only going to talk about the 5 steps. Step 1, awareness. Step 2, acceptance. Step 3, etc. Step 4, this. Step 5, result. Yeah. Once you have 3 to 5 steps, no more than that, the brain gives us a little room in that bucket. It moves chaos out the way and goes, oh, it's only 5. It's only 3 steps I have to worry about. It's only the 5 things I have to do, and my life will be easier. Make sure you bring the clarity. Make sure that you appreciate they have chaos. And when you can give them that roadmap, not to nowhere, not to somewhere someday, but hey, this particular point, remember we talked about the outcome, remember we talked about the big bold promise. If you start here and you want to get to there, there's A, there's Z, here are the 5 steps that get you there. Here are the 3 steps that you can get you there. If it's less than 3, they kind of think, really, is it that simple? But if it is 3, okay, I'm going to do this, then that, and I'm there. Brilliant. That's the key to success. That is the key, or one of the biggest keys to making sure that you have an engaged audience, because then brains are not trying to take too much on. Hope that makes sense, guys, as we move on. Okay, so what other techniques can we use for audience engagement and interaction? What other things can we do there? Well, here are some things that we can bring as presenters, we can bring as business owners, we can bring as service to our audience. They're obvious, but we've all been in events, live and virtual, where these just don't happen. And when they don't happen, it is painful. It is painful for the audience, and it's actually painful for the presenter as well. So the very first thing, it goes without saying, is enthusiasm and energy. If you're not enthusiastic about the topic that you're explaining in your event, how can you expect your audience to be? Bring that enthusiasm, bring the energy, bring the joy. If you've got to be enthusiastic about it, what's the word contagious. That's the word I'm looking for. It's contagious. Enthusiasm, energy is contagious. The more enthusiasm you have for a particular product or for a particular saying or a particular thing you want to get across, the easier it is for the engagement of the audience. Be enthusiastic about it. And I'm not saying be false enthusiasm about it, but just if you're presenting it, you must have a degree of enthusiasm about it, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it, right? So bring that energy into it. What we don't want is this monotone person that just reads from PowerPoint. Now, I haven't got that here, but here's another top tip for you. Stop reading from PowerPoint. People can read. If you're sticking it on a PowerPoint and there's words on it, they can read it. So stop reading about it. Use them as notes, as pointers, and talk about it. So we have enthusiasm for that topic. They can feel it. It's not something you can fake usually. If you have enthusiasm about it, that energy, increase the energy, bring it forward to your audience. Have passion and purpose. What is your passion? What is your purpose? All right, for it. They want to see that you have a passion for the topic. Enthusiasm is something you bring. Passion is something you have. Passion is something that you really have for it. Whether you are an expert in SaaS or in software, or you are in health, or you're in business, or you're in relationships, you have a passion for that topic and for your audience, and have a purpose of why you actually do that. This is very clear to me. See, I have a passion for entrepreneurs. I have a passion for people who make the choice to become entrepreneurs, to take life into their own hands, for their families, for their future. And my purpose is to ensure as many entrepreneurs who have taken that leap as possible become as successful as possible. Passion is people who are entrepreneurs, and purpose is to make sure that they're successful. And I make sure that my audience understand that and know that, not just in words, but just in the way my message comes across. Another great technique for audience engagement is confidence and empathy. Confidence, the audience wants to see and feel that you have the confidence in your product or your service and in what you're actually saying. They want to know that you have the knowledge that backs it up. They want to know that you've been there, done that, and walked the talk. That you have the confidence that say, if you do this, rather than almost an authoritarian way about you without being too over the top. Yet this is a fact, this is a fact, and this is a fact. This is how this works. If you do this and take these steps, this is where you come. That confidence will inspire people to take action. But they also want to see empathy. Empathy in the fact that you understand where they're coming from. You understand where they're at right now. No, so if you take, let's say, your experience and your knowledge, let's say put it on a scale, a ladder, a scale of 1 to 10. You might be on rung 7 or rung 8 or rung 5, but there's also people there who's going to be on rung 1 and rung 2. And what they're looking for is to be in your shoes at some point in the future, to be on rung 5 and rung 7 and rung 8. So you must have empathy for where you came from, empathy for where they are. If you talk above them, the words won't land. If you talk with them, encouragement with them, and that's how they're going to grow. I've always said it's easier to lead beside than it is from ahead. If you're beside them, hand on hand, the proverbial holding their hand, climbing up that rung of ladder, it's easier to get people to take action. And people would take action if they understand that you are with them, rather than shouting from the rooftops going, come on, I did this. It's easy for you. Let's just go. Hope that makes sense. And tonality and timing, one of my favorites. Yeah, and it's absolutely essential in every presentation you do, whether you are talking to your children, to your spouse, or to a virtual event audience. Making sure you have the right tonality for the right message, timing, making sure that you speed up your words, slow down your words, raise your tone, lower your tone, depending upon the message you give. It sounds common sense, doesn't it? But how many times have we sat in an event and heard, as I said, Charlie Brown's teacher? Now, I appreciate some people talk like that, and that's not a remark against them. What I'm saying is, if you are to present, it's a lot better for your audience if you learned not to be monotoned. If you want to get your point across and you want your message to land and people to enjoy and experience, then make sure you learn how to use tonality and timing for yourself and for your audience. All these 8 things: enthusiasm and energy, passion and purpose, confidence and empathy, and tonality and timing. If you learn to use those in your presentations, whether or not you do virtual events, especially presentations to anybody in your normal day of life, you will enjoy presenting far more. You will enjoy delivering your message far more and enjoy conversations and enjoy seeing people. And then if you can deliver on all of these 8, you will see a tremendous change in how your message lands with people and how people suddenly attracted to you and suddenly want to do business with you and suddenly would do what you would like them to do, because you've approached your conversation, your message, your presentation, your words with these 8 key techniques for audience engagement. So that is the 8 things that you can bring. But what other tools can we use to ensure audience engagement and interaction? Well, with technology growing as the speed is growing at, they're having more and more tools that we can use in our events to ensure interactive elements in our presentations. So when you run your virtual event, you've got to remember that the focus is on your audience and not you. One of the things that simple people will always ask me, they say, Gary, how do I get rid of nerves when it comes to public speaking? And one of the easiest things to do is to stop focusing on yourself and start focusing on the audience. When you start focusing on the audience, that it's about them, it's about how their lives can change and how their businesses can get better and how their relationships can get better and how they can move away from pain and towards pleasure, and how your words matter, then it isn't so much about you and the way you deliver them, but the way it is received by somebody else. And using those 8 that I shared with you earlier on, that would really, really help. But there are also tools available to us in the virtual events arena, like chat boxes. Chat boxes are a tremendous tool that are underutilized. Chat boxes, I've seen people use them in their events where they just put a bit of chat in there, just put something in the box, and they read out what there is. But generally what tends to happen, if you don't use the chat box correctly, then the audience start using the chat box to talk amongst themselves. So the best way to use a chat box, guys, is to call upon people who have written in. So I would often say, oh, John's just said that. John, yeah, that's a very good point. Now, I would share what John says, or I'd share what Pamela says, and I would share what Jill says. So Jill has said that the biggest takeaway from this has been this, this, and this. Guys, if you think that Jill's correct or you agree with Jill, put that in type in agree, or type in what your biggest takeaway is. So when you call people out, the more you call people out in a positive manner, the more you'll generally find they will continue using the chat box. They like to be a champion of that chat box. So the more that they put in, the more you call them out, the more they're right. The more they're right, the more they bring people in. The more they bring people in, the more engaged your whole audience is. The more engaged your whole audience is, the less likely they are to minimize you and stick you in a corner. And that increases dramatically the success of your event. So chat boxes aren't just there for putting people yeses and nos and ones and twos. They're there for people to engage with you as the speaker, to engage with the audience members. Remember, we are tribal based as human beings. We love learning in a crowd. And if we're sitting at home or sitting at an office, it can be quite lonely as an audience member. But if we can, as an audience member, engage with other members from all around the world, then suddenly we're at an event. Suddenly we're having an experience. Suddenly we're interactive, and there, wherever there may be, we are transported from our office, our mobile phone or whatever, into the event, wherever that event may be. So utilizing chat boxes are a tremendous way to interact with your audience. Another way is polls and surveys. Now you can just literally press a button and a poll comes up on the person's screen, and they can vote and they can add in their surveys, and they can pick one of the multiple choice questions that they are. And then almost immediately you can show the results to the rest of the audience. And that's a really good way. How are you feeling today? What is it that you're doing? How much money are you currently earning? Where do you see your scale on a 1 to 10? How many clients are you looking forward to get? You can ask them any multitude of multiple choice questions. And the more you get them, more you can encourage them to fill out these things and share them with the audience, the more it becomes an interactive event. And again, interactivity is a key to a successful virtual event. One of my favorites, though, is breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are one of my favorite ways of engaging my audience, whether that's an audience of 20, whether it's an audience of 200 or 2,000. Depending on the event. Breakout rooms are little rooms which you can send groups of people into in the middle of your virtual event. You can send groups of 5, 10, 50 people. Usually I wouldn't do any more than 25 people, but most breakout rooms you can have more, because you want the breakout room to be interactive. You want the breakout room, you want the people in the breakout room to interact with other people directly without you being there. Now, there's a few things that happen here. Generally, what I would tend to do is I'll put people into breakout rooms, and then I would designate what I will call a team leader. The team leader is someone generally that's either probably a VIP or they have been most interactive in the chat, and I'll make them kind of like the team leader, and they're the ones who will facilitate the chat. So you'd send people to a breakout room. It gives people a break from you or from the speakers where they can kind of go in there and just chill for a second, a breakout room, 5, 10, 15 minutes, and chat to other attendees. And you give them a specific question to discuss. You give them a specific topic to discuss, and the facilitator or the VIP or the captain or whatever the case may be will say, right, we're going to start off with Penny. Penny, what is your biggest takeaway that what have you learned out of this? How will you integrate this into your life or into your business? And then we'll move to John, and John will move to Penny, Anne, and Anne will move to Charles. And by utilizing this whole, making sure you have enough time for the amount of people you have in a break room, really gets them engaged within the event. And when they come back into the room, we're going to flick of a switch, click a button, boom, everyone's back in the main room, in the event, and then we can have a group share. So now who wants to share? And you can bring people live on stage with you, the virtual stage with you, and say, oh, okay, so who wants to share their biggest thing that they took away from the breakout room? Who met a really great person? Who wants to share one of the biggest light bulb moments that they had in there? And generally you'll find in a group there's always going to be one or two that want to share and get up on stage. So that relieves the pressure on you to be always the presenter, but also when other people see their attendees up there sharing it, it makes them feel they're living vicariously through that attendee. So if Penny's up there saying, well, I met this person and we learned this, everybody else, especially those that were in Penny's group or breakout room, but everyone attendees lives vicariously through Penny, who's up there because she's one of us. She's one of the attendees. She's not the presenter, but she's out there saying what we want, saying she's standing there for all of us. It's quite an invigorating experience to see that when you have that event. So utilize breakout rooms as much as you can, guys. And finally, when it comes to interaction, make sure you use music and videos. The right music can really, really help the environment and the atmosphere of an event, engaging people to lift the environment, lift their souls, lift their energy for everybody in the room. So where possible, use music, even if you're just doing like a 2-hour virtual event, a 2-hour workshop, and you're giving them a little of a breakout to go and do some work. Remember, a workshop is where we get work done predominantly. And they're going off and they're doing something, play some music, put some music just to take the break from the speaker, you presenting, and just giving them facts and interaction. So those are the 8 things that you can bring, and these are the 4 things that you can use to dramatically increase and ensure interaction and engagement in your audience. Okay, number 3, the third element. The third element of a successful virtual event is monetize. How do we monetize our event? Now, predominantly, remember, we go back to what we want. What is the purpose of your event? What was the outcome you wanted for your event? This was number 1. The first element was what was the event, the result that you wanted, the outcome that you wanted. Predominantly, majority of my clients is how we monetize it. How do we make money by using virtual events? How do we get more clients, get more sales, get more leads? How do we monetize our events? Well, in order to monetize your event, before we monetize our event, what we need to do is understand why people take action. Why do people say yes? Why do people step up? Why do people join if you want an email list, want them to join an email list? Why do they give you their email list? Why do they give you their time? Why do they give them, if you want more sales? Why do they give their credit card details? Why do they invite you into their offices? Why do they invite you for another call? When you understand why people take action with you, it becomes a lot easier to monetize your event. So predominantly, people will say yes to you or take a step up more closer towards you when they understand that they have a problem that you can solve. Now, remember what that problem could be. That problem could be moving away from pain, or the problem could be moving towards pleasure. They've been trying to move towards pleasure, but been struggling. Can you help them move towards that pleasure? Or they've been trying to get away from that pain, specific pain, and can you help them move away from that pain? When they understand that that is their problem and that you can solve them, they will take another step towards you. They'll take steps towards you when they feel that they really begin to know you, like you, and trust you. So virtual events are a tremendous way to expedite the know, like, and trust factor. Because you're there, because you're sharing your stories, because you're sharing your experiences, and because you are sharing ways in which they can achieve their goals or eliminate their problems, that expedited method of getting them to know you, like you, and trust you is there in droves in a virtual event. The more time you can spend with them, the more they get to know and like and trust you. When they know that you understand where they are, remember we talked about confidence and empathy. So confident that you can help them, but also empathy that you know where they are. You're not looking down at them. You're saying, yeah, I know I've been in your shoes, or I know people have been in your shoes, and I know it's tough there, but hey, you're not alone. It's not your fault. This can happen to anybody. All we need to do now is get moving. We need to be committed to move forward from doing it. We can't stay where we are. I'm the lifeguard. I'm the lifeboat for you. You just got to swim towards a lifeboat. This is how we swim towards a lifeboat. And when you understand that, rather than letting them wallow in their self-pity of where they're at, just say, fine, I've been where you're at. We can move forward. You don't have to stay there. There is a solution. Let's move towards that solution. They'll move towards you because they want to get higher up that ladder. They want to achieve the success that you've had. So whether you are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the rung, and they're 1, 2, or 3, they want to get to 5, 6, 7 as well, and they want to just follow in your footsteps. So by showing that confidence and showing that the empathy that everyone starts at rung 1, everyone starts on the ground, don't they? Everyone starts on the ground, and they get to rung 1, and they get to rung 2. Because there are people who are just getting started in whatever industry you're in. They're just starting that procedure. They're just starting their weight loss, get fit regime. They're just starting to work on their relationships at home because it's been unbearable for so long. They're just starting a new business. They're just starting learning how to do something else in their business. They're the just starters. But there's also those who have been doing it for a while that have just hit a ceiling, or plateaued, and they just can't move forward. They want to move forward. They've been moving forward, but they're just stuck. And they just need to know that you have got past that stuckness. You've got past that way, and that you know a way through, through the forest that they can follow. They also may want to know that they are aligned with your mission, your culture. So as I explained, when with mine, my passion and my purpose is very, very clear. I love people to become entrepreneurs. I love to show them the way that they can control their own life and control their own destiny for them and their families, being an entrepreneur. But in order to do so, they have to be a successful entrepreneur. And that is my purpose, is to ensure that they are as successful as they can possibly be. What is your mission? What is your culture? What do you want people to follow from you? If they looked at you and said, hey, yes, I love what you stand for. I love your mission. I love your culture. I love your purpose. I love your passion. What is that for them? When they see that and they can feel it, that's when they become more tribal and want to follow you and act you as the leader. And they believe in you and your process. They believe you have walked the walk. You've walked that talk, you've walked the walk, and you're doing it, and you're still doing it. There's a big, big difference than people who learn from a book, or people who have done it once and then don't want to teach people everything, that then they've only ever done it once. But when you're still walking that walk, when you're still doing it, you're still speaking at events, you're still running virtual events, you're still helping entrepreneurs, or you're helping couples get through their relationship issues, or you're helping people get fitter and avoid pain, when you're still doing it, they'll believe in you, and they believe that you have a process that works for them. The software will get them out of trouble. That software will streamline their business. That piece of software will make their life more easier. When they believe in you, and that comes from the confidence you purvey, that's, again, when they follow you. But more importantly, over everything else, when it comes to business, when it comes to growing your business and getting them to say, yes, I want to do business with you, when it comes to getting them get their credit card and saying, yes, this is what I want to do. I want to spend money with you. I want to invest in you, your business, your product, your service, or whatever the case may be. What they must know is, and they must see, is that the perceived value of what you offer far exceeds the investment. Let me just say that again. The perceived value of what they will get, in other words, the outcome, far exceeds the investment. Whatever that investment may be. Whether that be monetary, whether that be in time, whether that would be in emotion, whether that would be in strain, whatever that may be, stress upon the body, whatever, what is the value they're going to get out of it? If it far exceeds what they have to put into it, time, effort, money, then the chances are they'll move forward with you. If they don't think that's where the phrase, I don't think it's worth it, comes from, because they do not think the investment is worth the time, the effort, the money that they have to put in. The seesaw balance is working in the wrong direction. So when we understand why people take action with you, we understand that before we enter our event, before we create what we're creating for them, when we understand that this is the position that people need to be in order to take action, then we can look at monetizing our event. So there are 3 ways that we can monetize our event, and it's through tickets, product and services, and other speakers' offers. So let's look at this individually. Tickets. Selling tickets to your event. Some events are free, some events are paid. Now, predominantly, it will depend upon what kind of industry you're in and what type of event that you're running. But for the purpose of this masterclass, this is not, your event is not a course, it's not a training session, it is, let's say, a workshop or a challenge or a webinar or a boot camp or something like that, a 3-day event. It is an event that gets them closer to you to becoming a potential client. Okay, so this event, whether it be a workshop, a webinar, as I said, or a challenge or a masterclass, you can sell tickets to. Now, they could be free, let's say up to $97 or something along those lines. Okay, I'm giving you some rough figures here. You can see what your industry does and see where it goes from there, but we're going to work on roughly, say, 0 to 97. But the key to selling any ticket is to show value. You must show the value of what they will receive. Remember, we talked about the big, bold promise and the outcome they receive and how they would receive it. So as an example, when we look at my events, when I'm talking about, I'm going to run a 5-day challenge, I want to show them exactly what they're getting. They're not just getting the 5-day challenge from me. They're getting a 5-day challenge with me. They're getting exercises, worksheets, templates, tools. We're going to plan stuff out. They're going to get stuff done. They're getting answers because it's an interactive. They're getting giveaways. They're getting prizes. They're getting frameworks. They're getting SOPs. They're getting checklists. All the stuff that you would give to them anyway in their event, you want to valueize. You want to give it a value and then show them the value that they get. Remember, knowing full well that people want to see the perceived value is bigger than the investment, it is more likely for them to move forward. If the seesaw, the pivot's in the other way, they're less likely to move forward. So when we look at one of my 5-day challenges here, you can see that the total value of what I'm giving them is over $24,000. Because if I was to sell each one of this is the value of it. It doesn't mean I was necessarily going to sell that, but it's the value of it. I mean, again, value, I talk about it in the training I do with my clients, but the value is based upon the outcome that they receive. If they got that, it isn't what it is. It's not the piece of paper it's written on. It's not the 1 hour you spend with them. It's not the physicality of what you're doing. It is the outcome that they receive. If you could save someone's business from bankruptcy, how much is that worth? If you spent literally 1 hour with them and showed them how to avoid bankruptcy, is it worth an hour's worth of your time, or is it worth $10,000, $20,000, $25,000? If you could save somebody's marriage, is it the hour you spend with them, the 5 hours you spend with them, or is it worth a lifetime? If you could save someone's health, what is that worth? So we haven't got the time in this masterclass to dive into it. This happens more when we really dive into value when I'm working with my clients. But I want you to understand that if you can create that perceived value, but look at yourself. It's not about you. And it's not about the time you spend, and it's not about what it actually is, the process. It is, what is the outcome? What is the value of that outcome? What would make somebody's life easier? What would make their business flow better? That is the value. So going back to that, the ticket, let's say the ticket for $47. It's $47 to do a 5-day event with me, where we'll be together for an hour a day. And in that hour a day, I'm going to teach you one element per day. And then that day, we will work on it and get stuff done. But you're also going to get all of these other bonuses. You're going to get all of these other elements as an attendee of my 5-day challenge. And it's just $47. So you don't have to stack it like I just have there, but it gives you a pretty good idea on what you can do to show more value, to get more people to buy your tickets. So that is how to sell tickets. But here is a secret super surprise for you. People love to be in an elevated position. So what you should always be doing is offering a VIP bonus, a VIP upgrade. So once they've bought, whether you're selling it for free, given it is a free ticket, or whether you're selling it for 27 or 47 or 97, doesn't make any difference. Always offer a VIP ticket. Now, this VIP ticket entitles that attendee to more bonuses. So for example, with mine, it's always going to be lifetime access to all the replays of the summit. This is especially if I'm doing a 3-day summit with multiple speakers. But we will have all of that. Sometimes it's impossible for people to attend all of the summit, so that we offer a VIP package where they can have recordings to all of the speakers, to all of the events, to all of the categories, to all of the modules, so they have that for life. They also have exclusive bonuses. For example, like we have a VIP hour at the end of every event. Now, that doesn't matter if it's a summit or it's a 5-day event. My VIPs always get an extra hour with me every day of that event, where they can ask in-person questions. So they've gone from a group environment to a specialized VIP group environment where they can actually ask me questions and engage with other VIPs. So it's just being part of that tribe, being a part of that VIP higher echelon community. And you can sell tickets from $297 to $997, depending on the event that you're running. So, and the industry that you're in. So let's just take a look at ticket sales as a whole, as an example. And again, bear in mind, this is dependent upon your industry, depending upon the type of clientele you have. But let's just say you're going to run a free event and you have 100 attendees. In that free event, for 100 attendees, whether it be like a workshop, a 5-day challenge, or a webinar or masterclass, you have 100 attendees. Of those 100 attendees, well, you didn't have any money for tickets because you offered it as a free event, but you did offer an upgrade. Well, as it's a free event, your uptake on the upgrades to a VIP is going to be less. So the industry average, and certainly from my events I've found, is usually between 10 and 15%. So between 10 and 15% of people who took a free general admission ticket would upgrade to a VIP ticket. So let's say you have 100 attendees, you might have 15 of those upgrade. So 85 people kept the free ticket, 15% of people took the upgrade, and you'd make, say, just under $4,500 in revenue for that event. Now look at the difference from a paid event. As is a paid event, as the old adage says, I prefer paid events, right? Because people who pay attention, people who pay attention, people who don't pay attention. So you're going to get less attendees because you're asking money for that attendees. You know, that there's a lot of freebie seekers out in there in the world, and there's nothing wrong with giving free events. But when it comes to free events, it becomes a commodity. It becomes an information commodity. And there's a lot of free information out there, Google, YouTube, etc. It's just free information. And therefore, you just become a commodity mixed in to that commodity ocean. Whereas if you're using a paid event, it lifts you to a higher level and makes you something special, makes your event more special than all the free ones. That being said, still, you'll have less attendees. It's just the way people are. less people will pay because they and turn up because they've got to pay. So instead of 100, if all things being equal, same big bold promise, same outcome, same invite audience that you're inviting, only 50 people bought tickets. Well, now 50 people at 47 is just under 2,500. But here's the interesting thing. Because this is a paid event and 50 people have already paid something to show up to the event, they are more inclined to spend more money. So there is a much, much higher uptake to VIP from people who have paid to that event. Isn't that interesting? Because they're already predisposed to spending money, especially if you show more value. So now you've got roughly 50% of the 50 that will upgrade to VIP at $297, which gives you another $7,500. So a total of just under $10,000. So you have half the amount of attendees, but you're making over double the amount of money. Now, just the point of here, a majority of my events are paid events. A majority of the events I run, I would say probably 75 to 80% of my events are paid events. I'd rather have less attendees, but far more focused. And people who pay generally tend to be more focused. They tend to get on and do more stuff. 80% of my events are paid, whether those be 5-day challenges, whether those be workshops, whether those be boot camps, they're generally paid events. I do run some free events, but majority of them are paid events. Which one will you choose? I would suggest if it's your first event, go for the free. Offer as many people as you can to your free event. Just get the numbers in, use that as practice. We know that the more practice you do, the better you're going to get at it. And once you get to a certain level, then you can start charging money for your event. But if you want to go straight into paid events, go for it. Absolutely go for it. You will see a dramatic change in the dynamic of people that you have in your event. But if you're looking for people to take action and move forward with you quicker, with less excuses and less reasons to not do anything and less stagnation, go with a paid event. Okay, so that's ticket sales. The next way to monetize is by selling your product and your services. So this will depend on what you sell and how much you sell it for. So I've broken it down into two sectors here. If your product or your service is under $2,000 generally, then you can sell direct from the stage, direct from your event. In other words, what I mean by that is you can literally ask people for money to buy or invest in your product or your service at the event. You want them to bring out their credit card and buy there and then. So anything under $2,000, this will work for. So this works well for low ticket, single product, single packaged items. For example, online courses. You've got an online course, 500, 900, something along those lines. This will work really well for. Monthly memberships. If you've got a monthly membership, so let's say $49 or $97 per month, low entry, low monthly, this works brilliantly. Ask for the money at your event. If you're selling a SaaS product, you're selling for $297 or $497 or $997 for a year or whatever the case may be, CRM system, for example, then ask them to commit at your event and get their credit card out and start buying it. Or single sessions and audits. So if you're a consultant and you're doing an audit on, let's say there's on their lead generation or their audit on their expenditure or whatever the case may be, and you were charging, let's say $497 or $1495 along those lines, because it's under 2,000, you can easily, with the right messaging, ask them to commit there and then at the event. So my top tip to you would be this. Use stacks like I showed you before to create more value, more bonuses, whatever, because the more value you can show, the more perceived value you can show at the event, the more likely they are to purchase there and then, the more likely they are to invest with you at the event there and then. So if you can create more bonuses, make stuff like, for example, templates, scripts, recipes. So if you were doing, let me give you an example. Let's say you were offering an online weight loss fitness program. you could offer as a bonus, you could offer a recipe, a tried and tested recipe templates. You could offer them some shopping list templates of what they should buy and what they shouldn't buy. Something that will make their life easy, so they can interact with your product or your service immediately and start getting some very, very quick wins out of it. So if you have, in conclusion here, if you have under a $2,000 product, sell it directly at your event. Monetize your event by selling it there and then at your event. Now, if you have a product or a service over 2,000 and above, then it's going to be really hard to sell that and get someone to commit to spending $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 or more at an online event. In that case, you want to invite them to have a personal call. You want to invite them onto a call with either you or a member of your team, where they would use strategy or this strategy session or this personal call to dive deeper into their challenges and their issues. Remember, in order for them to invest, they want to see more pleasure, less pain, all right? Or a combination of both. You are a general in your presentation and in your virtual events because you didn't know what their personal challenges were, but you use these calls and these sessions to dive deeper to see if your product, your service could help them achieve more pleasure or less pain. Now, if after you've gone through the session with them, maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and you can see that there is a direct correlation between your offering and the solution they desire, then present your offer to them on the phone call. If they gets the desired outcome or eliminates their problem, make the offer to them on that call. So the top tip here will be use a proven framework to help the client take the next step. Remember, this is about the client, not about you. If you have done a deep dive with them and they're in pain, where they can't move away from pain, or they're in pain because they can't get to their pleasure, and you know ethically that your product or your service can help them get there, then what you want to do is help them take the next step. Use the proven framework of asking deep diving questions to get them to see where they're at currently and what are the challenges ahead of them if they don't make that change. Then if your product or service serves them, offer them that service. Remember, this is not, the call is not, this tip for you is this call is not a free or consulting coaching session. This is not the call to solve their challenges. All right. This is a strategy for them, for you to help them create a strategy for them to move to the next step, whether that next step is with you or with somebody else. And this is the things I talk to and go through and help my clients with, because so many of my clients come and they do these strategy calls, they do these deep dives, and they end up giving free coaching away and free coaching and all the advice, and the client just says, yep, thanks very much, I'll go and deal with it. And we have a proven framework that gets people to move to the next step ethically and smoothly, because they know it's the right thing to do, is to move to the next step. So that's when it comes down to selling products. Let's look at some of the numbers here, guys. Okay, so let's look at some standard industry conversion rates to give you an idea. Now, remember, when we're doing our virtual events, when you're doing your virtual events, this is why we start off with the outcome of what you want to achieve: more leads, more sales, more clients, whatever the case may be. Now we have a big, bold promise. We know what we're offering to the clients. Now we know what the pricing structure is. Now let's look at the conversion rates. What can we expect to receive? What can you expect to get by running an event, and how much you can do? So industry conversion rates. The conversion rate is this, is how many people end up buying your product or your service from the event, okay, compared to how many people turned up. So if 100 people turned up and you have a 8% conversion rate, that means 8 people bought your product or your service at that event. The industry standard for a sub $2,000 product or service at a well-run event will be around 8 to 15%. Let's call it 10% average. But it can be as high as 40. I've seen as high as a 40% conversion rate, up to a 2,000. If you have the right messaging, the right presentation, and you're using all the empathy and using the passion and the joy and the energy and the enthusiasm and you use all of that, you can see them as high as 40%. Now, if you have a 2,000 above, in fact, but by the way, let's do this little exercise. I said up to at 2,000. So I want you to write down now on your piece of, what is your value? What is the cost of your product or your service? Is it 500,000, 2,000, or whatever the case may be? Write that down. Okay, just write that down now and on your piece of paper. So let's call it $1,000, just to make sums really easy. $1,000. And let's say you have an industry conversion rate of, let's say, between 8 and 15, let's call it 10%, all right? A 10% conversion rate. So that means if you have, let's say, 30 people in your event, an industry conversion rate of 10% means you have 3 new clients. 3 people will buy out of 30 your product or service. Now, if your product is $1,000, then you've just made $3,000 from that event. That's an industry standard. Now, imagine if it was 40%. Imagine if you knew what to say, when to say, how to say it, how to present them, and how to really enjoy and give a great experience at a virtual event. And you can convert a high 40%. 40% of 30 is 12 people. That means 12 people bought your $1,000 product or service. That's $12,000 from the same event. So when you can see the difference between an industry standard of 3,000 or a great example of 12,000 or anything in the middle of it, how that could affect what would an extra $3,000 or $12,000 a month do to your business by just running one event per month. Play around with the figures, guys, see what it comes out for you. Now let's look at 2,000 and above. If you're running 2,000 and above, let's look at the numbers from there. So the conversion rate is slightly different here because we are inviting people to a personal call and we're not asking them to buy directly from the event. We're inviting them to a call. We have 2 conversion rates. We have a conversion rate of people who accept our invitation to the call. Now, the industry standard of people to accept from a event to a call is around 20 to 35%. So roughly 2 to 3 people from an event will accept the invitation to a call. This can be as high as 60%. I've converted people to a strategy call, to a consultation call, up to 60% in the past as a thing. So my average is around about 45%. So almost half of the people in my room will accept a consulting call from me or one of my team. Now we have the second conversion rate. So before we look into that, let's write down this figure. So if you are selling something at 2,000 and above, maybe 2, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 15 or 25, what is the average sale price of your product or your service? Write that number down now. Now, as we have this, you've got that number. So let's look at conversion rates. If you have, let's say, 30 people in the room and you can convert 20% of those people, that means 6 people are going to, I got that right, yeah, 6 people have accepted your call. Accepted the invitation to your call. Let's make it 30%. That means if it's 30%, it's 9 people. Okay, so you've got 9 people that have accepted your call, between 6 and 9. Now, the industry standard rate from the call to a client is between 20 and 30%. That means that roughly a quarter of the people that you get on the phone will buy your product or service. So if you've had, let's say, between 6 and 9 people, let's call it 8 people went onto a call, and you can close 20% of the 8 people. That's 1.6. That's almost 2 people, 1.5, 2 people from that standard. But it can be as high as 70%. So depending on your product, your service, and the price and the conversion rates, you can now begin to work out how much you can have in your room and what amount of money you will make from your event. My average, as I said, is around about 45, on both conversion from the call and conversion to the call. So when I'm working with my clients and I'm training them how to do the framework that they use is to maximize the conversion rate from invite to a call, and from the call, the consultant call to the product, to the service itself. So those are the figures you have there, guys. Hopefully you've now written down what you have and what it will work out for you using what you are selling your product or your service for. So the third one is other speakers offers. Now, the other speakers offers is usually when you start having multiple speakers at your event. So it's not just you, it's still your event. It's still your event, but you have speakers at your event. Or you are speaking at other people's events, okay? So there are ways to monetize on that. So usually these are for larger events like summits, multi-day events, multi-speaker events. You have 2 or 3 or 5 speakers, and we have a share of revenue agreement. So effectively, we agree to share some of the revenue depending on what the event is and who's running the event and who the speaker is. So the event organizer will receive a percentage of the revenue that guest speakers generate from that event. So what commonly happens when I'm speaking at other people's event is that the event organizer, the person who's hosting the event, will ask myself and maybe 1 or 2 other speakers to come and speak at their event. And whatever we generate from that sale, from those, how many clients we get in revenue, we would split with the organizer. So the rate average is between 10 and 50%. Again, that depends on the speaker, that depends on you, it depends on your offering, and depends on the host itself and the actual event. But to give you an idea, I was invited to speak at a Business Breakthrough Summit last March. And from that event, I gained 8 new clients, 8,000 each. Well, the organizer rate for that was 25%. So of the 8 new clients at 8 grand each, the organizer made $16,000 just from me. Now, obviously, that host, the organizer, had 2 other speakers, as well as himself, who was selling his own product and his own service at his event. But you can begin to see that if you combine selling tickets, selling your own product or service, and have other speakers and have a share of their revenue, how lucrative virtual events can be. You can do all of them, or 1 of them, or 2 of them. But as you start and as you begin to do this, imagine if you were doing this every month. Imagine if you're doing this every quarter. My clients predominantly run their events on a monthly basis now. I have some running them on a quarterly basis. So those are usually summit guys, so people who are running multi-speaker, multi-day summits. They usually run 4 times a year. But majority of my clients are running them on a monthly rate. They're running one event, one virtual event every single month. Some are even running weekly. I've got a handful of them who are running weekly, and they're running weekly workshops and weekly webinars because it works for them. It works for their industry. So as a thought, what would it mean to you? How many events would you be running? How many events could you be running? What outcome would you like to receive? When would you like to receive it? And then reverse engineer back into the numbers to see how much revenue you could be generating from the amount of events that you would like to be running. Okay, so that's number 3, is how to monetize it. Right, how are we getting on? Okay, so the last 2, number 4 and number 5. Number 4 is about promoting your event. So how do you promote your event? You can you've got a great event, you've got a great bold promise, you've got a great outcome, you know what you want the audience to achieve, you know what how you're going to monetize it, whether you're going to sell tickets, you've got a VIP package, you're selling your product or service, but how do you promote it? What is the easiest way to promote it without spending a fortune on ads? Well, I'm going to share with you 2 main ways that I show my clients how to promote their event. The first is using your network, all right? You already have a network, no matter how large or how small, that you can invite to your event. The first one is look at your email list. Now, your email list might be big or might be small, but the good thing about an event is that it's constantly improving your email list. It's always adding more people and adding more people to your list. So your email list is the first place that you would go to generate more attendance to your event. You want to approach all your existing contacts in that event and invite them to your event. All right. But it's a great way also to reactivate old contacts on that list who haven't heard from you for a while. Invite them to your new event. Say, hey, listen, I know you haven't heard from me for a while, but I've been busy working on this event. I'd love to invite you. It's going to be really exciting. We've got this thing we're doing. This is the big bold promise. This is what you're going to achieve out of it. I'd love to see you there. Here's how you register for this event. And it's a fantastic way to passively just revive these old and reactivate old contacts you haven't spoken to and reactivate that kind of stale email list. Another part of your network is your existing clients, the clients who you're currently working with, clients who have currently bought from you, who know, like, and trust you and like what you do. And what you really want to do with them is to invite them to become VIPs. You know, as an existing client, I'd love to invite you to be a VIP in this event that we're running. We've got these general tickets at this price, but I'd like to invite you to become a VIP. And a VIP, I would like to make you a team captain and things like that, and a facilitator if you would like to do something. Just make them feel special. They're more likely to say yes because they're existing clients of yours. But also ask them, because you're making them a VIP, say, look, as a VIP, if all I could ask you to do is invite other people that you might think that you know who might like to come to this event, who might find this event useful and productive, if you could invite them too. So because you're not asking them for a referral, because you're not asking them to ask anybody for money, you just say, hey, look, there's an event, there's an invite. It's just an invitation. They are more likely to do it. And that's a great way to increase your network and your attendees and your invite list by utilizing your existing clients. And then you have your social media, and we're not just talking about your followers here. So obviously you want to invite all of your followers to this event. And again, some can make it, some can't, but this is an ongoing event. Are you going to run it monthly? Are you going to run it quarterly? Are you going to run it every 6 months? But you can invite your social media, invite your network over and over and over again. But there's also an element to social media which is tremendously underused, which all my clients use, and that is groups, LinkedIn groups and Facebook groups. And these are groups of similar, like-minded people. They're groups that allow cross-promotion, where they have similar desires and similar industries that you work in, and products and services. And by offering people in those groups, say, hey, I'm running this event, would love you to attend, you expand your social media network. And every time they register, you're expanding your email list, and your email grows from there. So the first port of call, guys, is always to continuously approach your network and invite your network to your event. Remember, it's not a one-hit wonder. So just because they couldn't attend for, it doesn't mean they didn't want to attend. Maybe they were already predisposed. Maybe they were out of the country. Maybe they were busy. Maybe there could be any particular reason why they could not attend. It's not that they would not attend. They just could not attend. So when you run your next event, invite them again. And there will more people say, oh, great, I couldn't make it last time. I'm glad I can make it this time. And so you can continuously use your network. So please don't feel that you're going to burn your network straight away. A lot of people will think, oh, I invited them once, they didn't come, so I can't invite them again. Keep inviting people. They'll be grateful for it. They'll appreciate the fact that you're thinking of them and that you want them to experience this event that you're doing for them, and you're extending an invitation for them to join. Now, once you've got your network, and you've got your network up and running, and you're inviting them, and you're chatting to them, and you're reigniting your old, another way, a great way, and a really underutilized way to advance your reach is to use something that I call joint ventures. So what are joint ventures? Well, joint ventures are predominantly is a partnership agreement you do with somebody else. They're what I call temporary marketing partnerships. What it basically is that you are approaching other people who have a list of clients that are similar to your list. They work with similar clientele, but they don't offer what you offer. They offer similar service, similar product. So for example, if you're in sales, you could be, the people who have lead generation. If you're in Facebook marketing, it could be in YouTube marketing. So if you're in weddings, it could be hairdressers. If you're in health, it could be in supplements. So there's other people who are trying to attract the same type of people as you are, that already have a list that they could also invite. So why would they want to work with you? Well, what you could do is you could approach them and say, hey, I'm running this event, I'm running this experience of it. It's going to be a fantastic event. It's going to have this, this, and this. And what I'd love to do is invite you to be a speaker. I'd like you to become a guest speaker with me. And all I'd ask for you is for you to invite all of your email list. I'd even give you an email template that you could send out to people and stuff like that. And I'll give you a slot at my event where you can talk to and you can present to the audience. Or you could say, hey, but if you can come and we sell, you can have a percentage of the tickets of the ticket sales. So it depends which way your potential marketing partner would like to go, but there are various ways that you could entice them to come to your event, either as a speaker or as a percentage of the ticket fee. So it even works if you don't have a following. You see, if you don't have a following, what you could do is have, and this is what I have with my clients who are just beginning to get into the event world, is they invite 2 or 3 people to be speakers, especially if they're running like a multi-day event or something. They would invite 2 or 3 speakers to join and say, hey guys, love you to be guest speakers at my event. All I ask is that you invite your email list and your following to this event. So what happens is they invite everybody on their list and on their social network. And then all the people who register go into one main list. So they invite them out. So there's no cross-pollination of names and whatnot. They invite their own list. But those who register go into a central database. And that central database, that central email list is now shared between you and let's say the 3 speakers. So that everybody's email list has now increased. Everybody is now increasing their email list and has had exposure to everybody else. And that is a great way to advance your reach. And it's a great way of filling your events with little to no money. And you can either share the tickets or get them to do a speaking gig with you. So it's the top tip here is that if you do this correctly, it's a never-ending source of leads. It's a never ever ending, because you could find forevermore people who have a similar audience to you that you have not yet approached to be a temporary marketing partner. And I now, as I speak to other people, I speak on other people's stages, they come and speak on my stages, at my events. So all of us are growing together, and I will never run out of people to approach, because there are so many businesses out there all helping people in very similar industries. It's something we have to practice and get you. There's a way specifically to do it, but once you get it right, it works really, really well. Our 5th and final, as we come to the end of our 5th and final element of this masterclass, is tech. People are always a bit scared about tech, and actually this is the simplest part of running a virtual event. So when it comes to tech, there are basically some essential requirements, and it boils down to this. It boils down to the platform you're going to use, the camera, the microphone, and the lighting. And people sometimes completely get their knickers in a twist and start worrying about wanting, the big old studio, big old camera market. You don't need any of that. Let me prove it to you. The platform that I use, my preferred platform, is Zoom. We've all heard of Zoom, right? And Zoom can be it's free, but free only gives you up to 40 minutes, I think it is. But for $40 a month, you can have up to 100 participants. Now, depending on how many people in your network and what type of event you're running and stuff like that, ask yourself, are you going to have over 100 participants in your events? Or it can go right up to 6,500 for up to 10,000 people, like you see in this big multi-screen event here. And these are usually done for these big 3-day summits where we're speaking with multiple speakers on there. But majority of my clients will have under 100 participants per event. So $40 a month is more than enough on Zoom. And Zoom is effective, it's efficient, everyone has it, everyone knows how to use it. It's a very easy platform to use, and it could be anywhere in the world. And that's the beauty about it. Everybody knows how to use Zoom, and almost every country has got Zoom. So Zoom is my preferred platform. There are others, but Zoom is my preferred one. The next thing is camera. This is a big fail. The cameras is a big contentious. Do I need the biggest and best multi-DSLR camera out there, video camera? No, you don't. It can be a very simple camera, but what you don't want to be doing is making sure that you have an image like this. And the image is of, this is me, but I couldn't show you the real person that inspired me to do this. It was at an event. It was a one-day event that I was at, that I was on. I wasn't a speaker, I was an audience member. And this guy did effectively this. He presented his event at it, down, looking down at his phone, and all I could see was his nostrils, his chins, and his ceiling. And the lights on, he had big bulb, glaring lights. I turned my lights off because it was you couldn't really see him. He almost became a shadow. So this is a big fail, guys. All right, it's a simple thing, but if you're going to do it, you don't need equipment. You just need to have a simple setup. And this is the setup I have, guys. All right, this is my setup. This is my office, my studio, and this is where I've literally run events from people all over the world with thousands of people in it. Generally, there are up to say 300 to 400 people, but up to thousands of people I've had with it. And as you can see from here, this is just in my home office. And what it consists of really is simple equipment. I have my MacBook Pro. You probably got your own computer that you're listening to this on or watching this on. A simple computer will do. Obviously, mine's attached to, you can see where it's hooked up to a big screen where I can see my participants, but another screen is fine. You can just use that, or you can use a one screen. It's up to you. But yes, it's a simple laptop and a screen to see a dual screen, so you can see the participants and interact with them on a bigger basis. Camera, Logitech camera. It's a simple Logitech camera. It costs $170 from Amazon, I think it was. It's a Logitech, it's 4K, it's very simple, it's very sleek, it's very slim. It usually sits on the top of the laptop. I don't, because you can't see it, but I'm a very animated presenter, and I kept knocking the desk. And as I knock the desk, it knocks the laptop, and the laptop wobbles and the camera wobbles. So I have it on a tripod in front of me. Just keeps it a little bit more stable. The microphone I use is a blue microphone on an arm, $200. It gives good quality. It doesn't sound tinny, and a light to make sure that the light is right and it's facing in my face, so that I come across not as a shadow, but as a pretty good picture on that. And that basically is it. That is the equipment I use, and that is equipment that majority of people, and you can start using to give a great event, whether it be for 20 people, 100 people, or 2,000 people. That is all the event stuff that you need to get started. So in summary, as regards, virtual events are cost-effective, efficient, and simple for you, me, and business owners to grow in 2023 and beyond. They're so easy to use, guys. The tech is easy to use. The audience is already sitting out there. The one-to-many method as your client, by using the one-to-many method as your client attraction, is far more profitable than one-to-one could ever be. Whether you're speaking to 2 people or 5 people or 500 people, if you spend the same hour, 2 hours, 5 hours with us, you're far more likely to close far more clients using the one-to-many method. And if you're not using the one-to-many method, start using it as soon as you can, because you'll start converting and start being far more profitable than you could ever imagined. The humans have a built-in thirst for knowledge. That's not going to go away, guys. They're all out there. They want to avoid pain and they want to find pleasure. They want to make their life easy, their business easy. They want to make more money, be healthier, have better relationships, live in better places. Everyone wants that. So there's a massive audience out there, and they're just waiting for you to get out there and show them how they could have that pleasure or avoid that pain. And the great thing about virtual events is usually I would hold live interactive events, and this masterclass, because it's a recording, I have no idea where you are. You know, are you local? Are you national? Are you global? You're in a different part of the world. I have no idea. On a live event, I'll be interacting with you and asking you where you're from and stuff like that. But yes, you can be, it doesn't matter where you're based. You can be literally a global virtual event business if you can serve your clients globally by using virtual events, making growth far more accessible than before. You literally turn your camera on, invite people from other places, boom, and there your message is out. Virtual events will continue to grow, even though live events are now back. We've seen that. The numbers don't lie. The reports coming in, 92% of all companies that are running events are sticking to virtual events, even though live events are back, and they're running them in conjunction with each other. And if you utilize the 5 essential elements, you will have a successful virtual event. Those 5, in summary, is focus on one outcome for you and one outcome for your audience. You can talk about all the offerings you have to your client later on, but for your event, it's about one outcome, one promise, one desired result that they will get. Number two, your event should be an experience for the attendees. This isn't a classroom. It is, most events should be an experience, a very interactive experience. As I said, as this is a recorded masterclass, I don't get that experience with you. I wish it was live and perhaps we could be at a live event together another day, but make it an event as much as you can. Use as much interactive tools, use the passion, use the joy, use the confidence, use the everything that you have and the enthusiasm to have your audience enjoy your event. 3 ways to monetize your event: sell tickets and upgrade to VIPs. People love being a VIP. So sell tickets to get them in. You can do it for free, but even if you offer it for free, make sure you offer VIPs. Sell your products and services to people. And if you're having other speakers, make sure you have a joint revenue agreement with them and that you can take a percentage from their event as well, from their products as well. Promote your event using your network and utilize joint venture partnerships. If you've got a small email list and you want to grow it, or you just want to grow your ever increasing email list, joint venture partnership, temporary marketing partnerships are the best way to move forward. And simple tech, guys, don't get heck up on the tech. Laptop, camera, microphone, that's all you need, and you are ready to go. So that's it, guys. We are at conclusion. We're at the end of our virtual events mastery. I really hope you got a lot out of doing it. I know it's a lot of information, probably drinking from the fire hose. But if you take what it is, take this back, listen to it again. Hope you're taking loads of notes and start utilizing virtual events in your business to grow your business. So my final words to you guys is this: listen, if you're really serious and you're thinking, well, how do I use virtual events? How can I use virtual events? Does my business work in virtual events? Then let me help you see if virtual events works with your business. And let me help you create your next event if it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set aside some time for you. So all you have to do is book a call with me. Let's have a little strategy session. Let's see if what you have to offer, who your audience is, will it work for virtual events? Can we use virtual events to build your business in 2023 and beyond? How can we dramatically grow your business? In that call, it'll be 45 minutes. I'll ask you what you do, what you're offering, what kind of outcome we have, and I'll give you a plan of what you can use going forward. After the call, we'll show you how you can use virtual events, where you should start, what your plan of action should be. Now, if there is potential that we could work together, then maybe we'll talk about it another time or on that call. It's up to you. But the least you'll walk away with is an understanding of how virtual events can work in your own business personally, and a plan to move forward on your own and to start utilizing the power of virtual events to grow your business. So there's the link. You can go to GaryLafferty.com/call. That will take you straight to a calendar page, book yourself in, and I look forward to your call. You can also scan this QR code. So if you've got your phone with you, pick up the phone right now, scan this on the screen. That will take you straight to the calendar page. And I look forward to having a chat and getting to know you far better and your business. But if we don't speak again, I wish you all the very best for 2023 and beyond. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.